London. You've caught us when we're having what we call the shuffle around. We have a brand new Royce GT3 RS here, Generation 2. That is a second production wave. When they launched the first production wave of Generation 2 991 GT3 RSs, Royce was not available in the UK. On the second wave, a very lucky few people were invited to buy a Royce pack, and that is one of the first. Yeah, it's all black, even went for the lightweight wheels. We'll show you that up close in a minute. While we're here, check out this R8.
Now this is no ordinary R8. This is an R8 V10 Plus Performance Parts Edition. Now you would be forgiven for thinking that it is an Audi R8 with a body kit on it, but this is in fact ultra rare. As an official body kit from Audi, it's a higher downforce kit with uprated brakes, lighter racing wheels, and this massive carbon fiber wing. Now I had the honor of being invited to drive this car in Barcelona when it launched, and perhaps like yourselves, I also thought, well, it's just an R8 with a styling pack on it. Absolutely not. I couldn't believe just how differently this car drove from a standard R8 V10, but particularly under very heavy braking. The car was so stable. Even when braking in towards the apex, you could trail brake the car in and it wouldn't squirm about and get light at the rear like the standard R8 V10 Plus sometimes does. So to have one in here, I am told that only 5 of these came to the UK. So to have one in NVN is very cool indeed. Just check out the size of the diffuser on it. All of this aero work has all been enhanced, and look at that. It just enhances the width of the car, and not only is it functional, but it also looks fantastic. Always cool to see the old school G-Wagon in here. It's come in for full body paint correction and full body PPF. There's still something awesome about these, isn't there? Even though the new one is launched, which has been heavily revised, there's something that just has more of a cult status about the original, the OG, versus the new one. Very cool to see. And here's our Wonderwall. We call it a Wonderwall because the wonderful company that installed it is appropriately called Wonderwall. We've actually just had the foliage on this refreshed, hence all of the new plants down here. We like to keep the environment looking clean. The reason we had this wall installed, funny story actually.
The inspiration came from the Ferrari factory. When you walk through the factory, what is quite unique about that working environment is they have put actual trees between each workstation. The reason being, it just improves the working environment for everyone who works there. I had a similar idea when we opened NVN, but my idea started a lot smaller, and it was like, wouldn't it be nice if we had a few plants and things around, maybe some hanging baskets to make the environment nicer and just to be a more pleasant place to spend some time. That went from a few plants to 5,500 of them, which spans our entire back wall and all the way up the top there. But it keeps the oxygen in here fresh, it makes the working environment not so clinical, and it just enhances the time here for our team, which is what it's all about. Happy team, good result.
Awesome to have another GTC Ford Lusso in here, spec'd in one of my favourite colours, blue Tour de France. As far as practical cars goes, this is up there. I mean, I sort of liken it to a 4-seater F12 or 812 in a way, because you're able to enjoy that incredible Ferrari V12, which is almost the holy grail of engines in the car world, but with the practicality of having 4 seats and 4-wheel drive. Very cool car. It's in for, similar to most cars here, full body paint correction and enhancement, and importantly paint protection film to keep it looking shiny once it's left the building. Okay, despite the fact that these guys are working on that wing panel there, we have been able to open the door just to show you this stunning interior. I think this is a timeless spec. Tour de France blue on a tan interior. I believe this colour officially from Ferrari is called Cuio. It is a beautiful spec, and I also love the addition of carbon fibre inlays, just as a tip of the hat to the sports heritage and DNA of this brand. It's also optional carbon fibre kick plate or kick sill here, which ties in nicely with the carbon trimmed control bridge, and importantly carbon fibre driving zone with the LED shift light steering wheel and carbon paddles. What a spec, what a machine. Yeah, I would love to daily one of these. Having said that,
New Audi RS6 has recently launched. First drives of those I've heard will be before the end of the year, so keep an eye on the channel. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. But from what I've seen and filmed of the new RS6, that thing, I cannot wait.
I've also just finished work, full body PPF on this stunning white Lamborghini Aventador SVJ. This car is one of the most complicated cars that you can request to have paint protection film applied. It therefore takes the longest. I believe it's second in complexity only to the McLaren Senna, having over 120 individual PPF components that make up this aerodynamic jigsaw. It's just, look at that, just the rear section itself. Can you imagine the intricacy of all of these angles and slots and panels? Look at it. Every single area and fold makes more time and more effort and, more importantly, bespoke PPF components on a car. The detail is endless, but if there was ever a car that is worth protecting, it's this. There's so much exposed carbon everywhere. Look, there's just carbon a go-go, even the wing. Also with this car, the roof line is so low. These are examples of areas of cars which you might not associate with protecting, but when you have a supercar or a sports car, in comparison to your average road car, the roof line is so low that it's very typical that any stones which are flicked up from cars you're following can very often land on the roof line, which is why we very often recommend cars like this have full body PPF, because it is amazing where stone chips end up. Look at this stunning Rolls-Royce Wraith has landed with us. I've just spotted a detail. It just reminds me what these cars are all about. You can just see that subtle RR, the Rolls-Royce logo, which is etched into the headlights of these cars. I think little details like that basically summarize what these cars are all about. Just the nuances and attention to detail, just levels of appreciation that when you walk over and experience these cars in reality, these are the tiny little things which you bring out with you that just enhance, I guess, the artisan nature of what these cars are all about. Very much a car worth protecting. The areas on these, like the doors, it's like working with bed sheets the size of the PPF templates. Rolls-Royce typically have a scale unto themselves. They are very, very big cars, so when we apply PPF on them, it often takes a few people to assist with the application of it, so you can hold the sheets all out in one single piece to basically decrease any potential of creasing it or folding it or any air bubbles or anything like that. So it's always nice to see a Wraith. And look what has returned to us. This is an honor to even have this in the building, but it's great it has returned. This is one of the first Vanquish Zagato shooting brakes which was ever made. It is finished in the now iconic Villa d'Este paint scheme. I say it's now iconic because this is the paint scheme which was launched when these cars were announced at Villa d'Este a few years ago, and it's returned to us because if you just look up here, top left corner, you will notice the number of the car that took place in this year's 2019 Goodwood Festival of Speed. It's just come back to us to have a check over. Typically when it gets ran up the hill at Goodwood, the guys driving these cars don't take it easy. They are certainly not going slow, and so the owner has just sent it back to make sure everything's cool, have a check over, have a wash, and make sure this incredible sculpture is still as protected as the day it left. What is significant for me about this car is that this is one of the very first cars which we also protected as a client car from NVN, literally the week it launched. We actually had all four of them in here, all four of the Vanquish Zagato collection. It was a sight to behold, so always great to see it back here. And just over here we have a 488 Pista. This one's come all the way over from Dubai. It's here for the summer. This actually joined us on a track day at Anglesey not so long ago. Also, we are doing the owner a favour because it's here for both storage and car care. We don't actually officially offer storage, but he's a very good friend of NVN, and I just so happen to be insured on it. So I think that's a fair trade to get to drive a Pista during the summer. Now this Speciale is very Speciale. Let me just show you the interior on this as well. Very unique. Blue Alcantara on silver and grey. Obviously completely loaded with carbon fibre, even matching Alcantara floor mats. Now as standard, the Speciale, believe it or not, didn't even come with floor mats. It was just all exposed
plating like this, and so they've managed to have and I know that this is quite an interesting optional extra, but matching Alcantara floor mats with silver stitching to match seats and inserts here. Even these knee braces on the dashboard, wonderful contrast stitch here on that blue Alcantara, gorgeous. And one interesting fact that all of this surround here and all of this fabric that weaves its way down into the footwell and also down the transmission tunnel, this is actually a variation of Kevlar. It's a fabric that was effectively developed for the military industry, and it just basically makes it very scratch resistant, hard wearing, and they can in fact install it in bulletproof vests. Now this is pretty cool, and another HRO but Ferrari car. This is a triple layer red Rosso Kyoko car. Rosso Kyoko, I'm not sure if really this camera is doing it justice. Even under these fantastic lights, the sculpture that this paint shows off, as I mentioned, it's a triple layer paint. It is in excess of a £20,000 paint, optional extra from Ferrari. Justified, I'm not sure, but it really does make the car look incredible. And once again, in terms of protecting a car, triple layer paints are notoriously hard to repair. So if you were to get a stone chip on the front of this, trying to match it in exactly with the bonnet is almost impossible, and oftentimes you'll end up having an entirely resprayed panel just for something as small as a stone chip. This car is effectively brand new. It's got just 996 miles on it. It's currently a demonstrator. No doubt at some point it will become for sale, but right now it is just a timeless spec. We've got grey Alcantara on black leather, the more conventional sports or comfort seats in this case, and it's just gorgeous. I mean, I really like the grey leather there. That's a nice touch. Often you'll find black leather there if the seats are black, but I love what they've done by matching it in with the grey Alcantara. Yeah, it looks stunning. Carbon fibre throughout. Amazing car. Always an honour to have an 812 Superfast in here. They are beautiful, beautiful things. And now let's transition on to arguably my favourite car in here this afternoon. As I mentioned at the start, this is the Gen 2 991 GT3 RS Weissach pack, and it has been completely Weissached out. Even the lightweight magnesium alloys sitting on Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2s. Of course, with the RS models now you can get the new Cup 2 Rs, which are extra sticky. Colossal carbon rear wing with what I love is the Porsche logo is in black on black, so you can see it, but it's subtle, it's not in your face. What a wonderful thing. The same with the graphics down here, that is black on black GT3 RS logos, and down the side is even more subtle, but you can just see it there. GT3 RS, black on black. What a stunning machine. Now, one of the more obvious and unique traits to a Weissach pack is the addition of the titanium roll cage, which you can see here. Titanium being notoriously to work and weld with, but it is incredibly light. I believe the titanium cage on its own saves nearly 20 kilograms over the standard steel cage. That's on top of the exposed carbon roof, exposed carbon bonnets, and a big weight saving is of course the lightweight magnesium alloys I mentioned earlier. Let's open it up. Black on the inside, but really cool contrasting yellow stitch throughout. Silver lightweight handle poles, and the important Weissach RS stamp of approval on the genius cup holders. I still maintain to this day that these are the best designed cup holders in the world. Anyway, going to a very lucky and very cool guy. We might actually see this car on my channel one day, but no time soon, as we shall let the owner indulge in this car for a while. But what a machine, absolutely stunning. Okay, so that's it for What's in the Bay today. This is episode 2 of this series. Let me know if you're enjoying it. If you are, please be sure to subscribe and tick the bell so you actually get the alerts when new content goes live. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. We shall see you somewhere awesome next time. Ciao!